Hello and welcome to today's Marketing Minute. I'm your host Cooper, coming to you live from snowy Maple Grove, Minnesota. Yes, it is snowing here in the middle of October, and we love it. I'm even wearing my Scandinavian cold-blooded winter sweater just to get in the mood for it. Anyways, today we'll be talking about targeting for real estate, specifically whether you should use retargeting ads for your real estate business, and then if you should, how to go about it in a way that will help you grow your business and not just waste your money, as we know it is all too easy to do in cases where you're using online paid advertisements. All right, let's get going. So, first simple question. What is retargeting? What are retargeting ads? Specifically, retargeting is a method by which you can show your ads elsewhere to people who've been on your website. So someone comes to your website, and then you're able to show that person your ads when they are elsewhere on the internet or in certain mobile apps. The way you do this, like mechanically and using technology, is there's a code that you put on your website. And when a user goes to your website, it puts a little cookie into their browser history. And then when that user goes to other websites, code on those websites recognizes that cookie and says, oh, this person has been on that website, we should show them that website's ads. Most commonly, people will run retargeting ads on Facebook and Google. Obviously the two major online ad platforms are the most common places where people will run retargeting. People will run YouTube too, YouTube retargeting ads, which are actually pretty effective in a lot of industries. But you can run a lot of those YouTube retargeting ads very effectively through the Google Ads platform, so it kind of lumps into Google anyways. Why would you run retargeting? Well, essentially, there's only one real purpose in the real estate business, and it's essentially just to encourage conversion into a lead downstream. So if a user comes to your website, it doesn't convert into a lead. You basically have just thrown that person away, They're pretty, you're relying on them to just like magically remember you in their brains. Oh, my camera went out of focus. It's because I talk with my hands too much. I love it. Anyways, you're just relying on that person to remember you enough to come back to your website eventually, which is probably not enough, especially if you're buying website traffic. So if you're running normal Google ads or Facebook ads or any other type of paid traffic that'll come to your website. If you aren't retargeting, you're basically just allowing those people to leave and never come back and probably never remember you. So when you retarget, you're giving people opportunities to re-engage with you, to come back to your website later, and ideally convert again, so downstream in their relationship with your business. Just like this dog, it's like you popping up repeatedly saying, like, hey, I still exist, don't forget about me. So the most important question, should I run retargeting ads? My answer for the vast majority of real estate agents with regards to almost all paid advertising is actually absolutely not. It's not worth your money. There's one big reason why. You need at least like bare minimum 1,000 visitors to your website per month to even make retargeting worth it. So think about this. Like, in order to retarget someone, they have to come to your website, and then they have to eventually, on that same device, be browsing somewhere where they're eligible to see retargeting ads. So that could be on Facebook. It could be on a bunch of other websites that Google actually pushes ads into. Google runs a lot of the display ads you see on websites. But what percent of people that come to your website are going to eventually actually even like see one of your ads and trust it and like it enough to click on it? If you only have 1,000 people or less coming to your website per month. Most of our agents actually have almost no website traffic, and that's by design because we don't really want people going to their websites. We want them interacting and engaging them directly. So anyways, you need a lot of website traffic to make retargeting worth it because the way the numbers work out, your click-through rates on retargeting ads are very low. We're talking like 1% to 2% would be an amazing click-through rate on a retargeting ad. So if you have 1,000 people and you only have like a 1 or 2% click-through rate, you're only getting like a handful of people clicking your ads every day based on the number of impressions you're able to buy. So lots of website visitors, and ideally, you got to be careful when you analyze your website traffic to see if you even have 1,000, because you might have 1,000, but if you dig into it, we like to use Google Analytics and look at the the region geographic reports and the user engagement reports, there's a good chance that a chunk of your website traffic is actually spam. So you need to make sure that the people that are on your website are actually real people who you can retarget anyways. So super important to have lots of website traffic. Secondly, if you're retargeting people, if you're running retargeting ads, and those ads just link back to the same place on your website that user's already been, or they link back to your website's homepage, you're not really leveraging that money you're spending on those ads very well. You probably should have an alternative lead conversion landing page that provides some kind of like new information or like new value that you can drive that retargeted traffic back to. Because most people that go on your website once, they're going to look around, maybe do a home search. If they don't convert into a lead, why are they going to want to come back to your website and do the same things over again? They probably aren't. So have an alternative lead conversion hook or a value offer on your website that you can drop those retargeted people onto. So if you have a bunch of website traffic and you have a pretty good conversion strategy for those people on a return visit, then your big question is, should I use Google or should I use Facebook? And overall, building credibility with it. So I have managed Google and Facebook ad campaigns that spend over $1 million a year for hotels and resorts. That's my pedigree. Previous career before I came into real estate, started doing real estate marketing strategy and coaching agents their marketing. So I've looked at a crazy amount of data. I've been responsible for spending large companies' money on ads and determining what their ad spend should be. And I can tell you right now, Google ads, if you want a large quantity of very low quality website visits, you can run Google display retargeting ads. I don't think Google display retargeting ads are very useful for agents in really many situations. If you have a really big ad spend budget, maybe you're a really successful team like the Power team, and you have a ton of website traffic, Google display ads can start to make sense because what you're going to do is get a lot of eyeballs. You're going to get a lot of impressions on those people who've been on your website. But the quality of Google display ads tends to be pretty low, actually. And some of that has to do with context because the way Google display ads work is you're paying for Google to put like an image ad that you create onto another website. So, I might be looking at, like really classic examples, like if you go to yahoo.com, like msn.com, you'll see these little like box ads on the right-hand side and stuff. Those are like Google display ads that are being put in there. And you could potentially be retargeted in an ad space like that. It could be on a recipes website or like weather.com or checking the weather. But if you think about that, it's like in that context, generally when you're on a website, a lot of the times you're there to get information, right? So you're not there to like hang out and then like be distracted by an ad and then like go somewhere else and like do some real estate research. Tend to be on mobile a lot of times too when you get retargeted from Google. So the context of a Google display ad is kind of abrupt, and I think that's part of the reason why the quality of Google display retargeting traffic tends to be so low. So anyways, wouldn't really recommend Google, but you could give it a try if you have a ton of website traffic. Like, if you're close to like 10,000 visitors a month, I think Google displays probably getting to be worth it for you. Facebook retargeting, on the other hand, a lot like dramatically higher quality. So, back when we were looking at data, this is hospitality industry information because not a lot of real estate agents or teams actually do very much retargeting, really at all. So there's not much good data to review there. But generally we saw about 3 times better engagement on Facebook retargeting traffic than we see on that Google retargeted traffic. So Facebook tends to give you higher quality retargeted traffic. In Facebook, you're going to use a bigger ad. It's going to have the text on it. It's going to have some more of the credibility behind it that Facebook provides because it'll show that it's like an ad from your company and your company's page right there. So there's a little bit more like trust that people have from those Facebook retargeted ads versus Google ads. Your Facebook ads, if you run them the way I'm going to suggest, they actually look just like posts. So it looks a little bit less like a retargeting ad. So we'd recommend using Facebook. The odds are, if you're selling to your sphere, you're already like pretty darn active on Facebook and you have a good audience there. So using Facebook for your retargeting strategy is the way we would recommend you go about it. All right, so let's get into some of the nitty-gritty of how we recommend you would run a Google retargeting campaign. For real estate agents, first of all, just to get this out of the way, you should be running display retargeting ads. There's not a lot of cases in which you would run search retargeting ads, or video ads could be good. I would suggest starting with just simple display retargeting ads if you're one of those. Probably a team would be my guess, is someone who makes sense to run Google retargeting ads. So build a bunch of different ads. Don't overthink it. Make them simple. You can Google search, most common Google display ad sizes. Make like 3 or 4 in every size. They don't all have to be unique. You can do like the same basic design and just change it to fit all the different sizes. Then make another design and change that one to fit all the sizes. Have a bunch of ad variety. And then A/B test. After a couple months of running that campaign, go through your ads and look at the ones that give you the best, you're getting the most impressions on, that have the highest click-through rates. Keep those running and pause all your other ads so that Google is focusing more of your budget to the ads that work. Thinking back to the context in which people interact with display ads, generally it's actually like an interruption in their screen when they're browsing other content online. That's the way Google display ads works. It's in like the right-hand column a lot of times on websites that they're searching. So it's an interruption. So I've actually seen much better results if you use ads that are kind of visually appealing and striking and don't have so much text. Ads that are a lot of text or really salesy tend to just be like noise, and people tend to ignore them a lot. So use visually attractive ads with minimum text. Putting a little like button with a call to action, it's not actually a button, right? They're going to click on your whole ad, but putting something that looks like a button can be an effective way to get people to actually click on it and go to whatever that value that you're going to provide them with on the landing page. You got to be wicked careful with your settings. You can go and look at our webinar we taught on Google and Facebook ads. Be really careful with the settings and targeting you're using for your Google display ads, because if you don't really keep an eye on Google and don't have the specific settings that we described in that other video, Google will start to kind of just show your ads all over the place. Make sure you're only allowing Google to retarget with your ads. The default setting in display advertising campaigns, even if you have retargeting set up, will be to show your ads to your retargeting audience, plus other people that Google thinks matches it, which you don't want that. That's like garbage, low quality traffic. So make sure you're strictly retargeting. You're going to do pay per click. So maximize clicks is your bidding method. As with all of these paid campaigns, we'd recommend you start with a very small budget, $3, $5 a day, and then scale it up as you start seeing good results. And then, of course, as we already mentioned, you need a very strategic landing page. So make sure that the place you're sending those people to on your website, it's got to be mobile friendly. It's got to obviously be giving the prize for whatever they clicked on that ad to obtain, and ideally that's a separate type of value add or lead hook that you're providing compared to what they would have normally interacted with on your website before, right? Because they're already on your website, they didn't convert. Give them a different reason to convert now. Lastly, I would like to give you a few ideas around how we can run retargeting campaigns effectively on Facebook. We're ending with this because we have a lot more confidence in Facebook retargeting because it sends higher quality traffic that has a higher conversion rate. Once again, you're going to use visually striking, kind of beautiful imagery, and have minimum text on the image on a Facebook retargeting ad. The way we'd recommend you run them is actually make them look as if they're just a normal post. That way people will actually tune them out less as like an ad. You want to make them look like a normal post. So people just are going to start thinking wow, I've been seeing those guys, their Facebook posts a lot more lately. But really what they're experiencing is retargeting, right? So you want to make it kind of an organic looking Facebook post. Don't put very much text on the image, like I said. Facebook actually has limitations around that, but because you're going to make it look like a Facebook post, you actually are going to put your text into the headline description instead of on the image. You can use videos. Videos work even better than images for retargeting, actually. The problem with a video is that it's a lot harder to do an effective call to action in a video, because most people are going to watch the video a little bit, on mute, in their newsfeed, and then they're just going to keep scrolling. So you can test videos and try different ways to have a strong call to action early on in that video, like click to get something, or something like that. But so use videos, but be careful about your call to actions there. Of course, you want to link all of your retargeting ads to your website. There are some other options of Facebook where you're like running ads to get likes or like leads or people to go to your Facebook page. None of that works quite as well as linking them to your website, which has a much more customizable funnel. You're going to be able to provide a better viewing experience on your website, which you have complete control over compared to any of those Facebook-based landing pages or lead forms. Once again, you can pay for clicks. Don't get tricked into paying for impressions or paying for conversions. We have never seen good data that those things work. So make sure you're paying for clicks on those retargeting ads. You got to be careful about your targeting. Facebook will always want to show your ads to the retargeting audience and to some other people that they think kind of match it. We don't really trust Facebook's matching criteria very well because we know the people that we're retargeting have already been on your website. So we've already done some work to target those people before. So focus your ad spend on that retargeting audience only. There's a bunch of different places on Facebook you can push ads to. The news feed is the only place we believe it's worth running Facebook ads. They'll put stuff in a marketplace or in the right-hand columns or whatever new places they've come up with on the new Facebook layout that they're trying to push on all of us right now. Newsfeed ads will get you the best results. There's a bunch of reasons for that, but overall the data shows that actually people who click on your ad in the newsfeed spend longer on your website than people who click on your ad in other places. And then lastly, of course, you need to make sure that you're sending that traffic, you're linking that ad on Facebook to a very mobile-friendly landing page, since the majority of these ads are going to be seen as people are on their phone in the Facebook app scrolling through their newsfeed. So make sure you're going to a mobile-friendly landing page. Maybe put a short video there on the landing page rather than in the Facebook ad itself. And then have a strong call to action with a really short form. Ideally, they're just giving you their phone number, name, and email, or maybe just the name and email or name and phone number. The less amount of information you can ask from someone, the higher your conversion rates will be. So that is all the advice we have for you today. Most agents not going to want to run retargeting ads because you don't have enough website traffic. But if you do, hopefully we provided some pretty straightforward strategic advice on how you can go about running effective retargeting campaigns on Facebook. You might be in the small use case where Google makes sense for you. So we gave you some input there too, but most likely you're going to be running those Facebook retargeting ads. Thank you for your time. My name's Cooper. If you have any questions or want to request a topic, you can email us at base@jpwillman.com, just like home base@jpwillman.com. Request a topic, ask a question. We'd love to engage with you. Please like our Facebook page so that you can stay in touch and get these videos as they come out. And then you also can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is another way to get access to all the videos that we crank out. Thank you and have a good week.